My friend Katelyn and I recorded this episode for you. I hope you enjoy it. It is the rawest of all episodes I've ever recorded. So enjoy it. We didn't filter anything. We edited the very minimum. And you have the beginning to the end of a conversation between two friends, two mamas, two coaches, talking about how we are walking ourselves out of being in a blah. Enjoy it. Honestly, I was waiting for you and thinking, I'm going to try to do this one thing before she gets here. And I'm like, this is why we are where we are. This is why we're having this conversation. Like my cell phone is on, trying to check my Instagram messages and reply to people. My coffee's half cold.
Yes.
I did my makeup for you.
I appreciate it. My coffee is fresh out of the microwave. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Oh.
Oh my gosh. I'm glad to be here.
I'm so happy you're here. How have you been?
Can I say better? Can I say I've been better?
You have been better. I was going to say,
you know what?
The unfiltered version.
The unfiltered version. It's January 31st.
Jesus, what happened to this?
I was just going to ask, can we swear on this podcast?
Yes.
We're almost fucking done with January.
Thankfully. High five to that.
High five. We did it. We did it.
And like, I just want to say, compare the same plant that we have. Yours looks so live. Mine has been better.
Yours looks a little sad.
It's
Yeah,
been better days.
But, you know, there's time for that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what we're going to talk about. It's like, it's just not the time to take care of your plants right now. And that's okay.
Not. I think this one just gets forgotten because he's down here.
Well,
and I think he gets too much sun. I feel like I don't speak plant. I don't know what she needs.
Those guys don't need a ton of light.
Yeah. She gets
but maybe.
I have a massive plant here.
I'll recommend you another plant.
Okay. Thank you. That would be awesome. Is that real? The other one?
Oh yeah, they're all real.
Jesus.
But they have a very dark room.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Opposite to mine. I have a lot of light.
I know.
Almost distracting sometimes.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
You could have a jungle in there.
I could have a jungle, and like the air would be so much better when I meditate and do whatever.
All right.
Dream.
I'll send you some suggestions.
I would love that. Okay. I woke up this morning and I had my child in my bed, crawled like literally all around me. So I could hear my alarm, and I was like, I don't have the heartbeat. My cell phone sleeps outside of my bedroom so that I can't. I can't reach it throughout the night, and I put on airplane mode so it doesn't disrupt my sleep. Do you believe in that? Do you believe that there are waves of your phone that disrupt your sleep?
Totally. I don't do that, though. I have it in my room.
Oh, no, I got into like this, I'm going to sleep better like a year ago. It hasn't slept in my room, this phone, for a long time.
It's amazing.
And at 6:30, I could hear the alarm, and I didn't have the heart to just untangle my child from me. So I wake up my husband to go get my phone. He gets my phone, and I'm like, do I go to the gym? Do I stay here? I think when I told him to go grab the phone, the decision was made that I was going to stay in bed. And he got up later, went to get dressed, went to play. And all I could think to myself was like, be patient today. This morning routine, just don't yell. Because I'm telling you, January has been a rough morning routine. This kid needs to be told 5 million times what to do. And he tells me, I don't like it when you yell at me. And I want to own that that's a bad thing to do. But then I also want to tell him, then don't make me repeat myself. That's not on him. That's on me. I still have to self-contain. So that's how my morning was. How was your morning? I know you had a whole bunch of things going on too.
I have a sick child home. Again, I was counting how many days. I haven't had a full normal, quote unquote, normal work week this whole month. And thankfully, my father-in-law is here, moved here a year or so ago, and is taking him to the doctor for me. He looks rough. He was also in my bed last night. My husband's traveling. Neither of us slept very well, if at all. Um, and I'm going to go to the doctor this afternoon too, because I don't know if you can tell, but my voice is like, this is not
Okay.
the way my voice usually sounds.
No, it sounds pretty normal for me, but I don't
That's
hear you.
great. That's
Yeah,
great. It
yeah.
doesn't feel normal. But yeah, so it's also when you said like, oh, I've got my phone here, I'm like checking notifications. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing the like schedule shuffle in your mind where you're like, okay, well, if I cancel that thing, but I have to take this, and I'm like, oh, but he's going to go to the doctor there. What time will he be done? Will I need to go to the pharmacy to get anything? If I take this appointment that I need for myself, then I'm going to have to reschedule a client, but when can I reschedule? It's just like this whole,
Oh my God.
I've got 24 or 48 hours to cancel this thing on Friday. Should I go ahead and do it now? Because who knows how we're going to feel, right? It's just that whole, it's exhausting. It's exhausting.
It is exhausting. And as you were saying, okay, if I take care of me, like if I go to doctors, I'm gonna have to move that. And then I might have to move a client. Like my belly started to sink in and like feel like this guilt or this pressure that you feel because you're also impacting somebody else's calendar. And isn't that the life of a mom?
Yeah.
You're constantly like trying to steal from Pete to give to John to, like, ah,
Yes.
it's like a never ending. Like, I know you need this. I do too. I don't know how to. Anyways,
Yeah.
how do you go through those seasons of life? What do you do? What have you been doing lately to care for self? You and I both
Mm.
have agreed January has been a dry month.
Not in the way that a lot of people do dry January, but
No, no, not by choice.
yeah, it's so timely. I think we've talked about this before that I feel like I share something, whether it's in an Instagram post or a story, or I write an email to my list, hypothetically, right, from pulling from past experience. And it's almost like the universe is like, you need to learn that lesson again. And I think it was Tuesday, I put up a post all about the call that you get, right, when school is closed for snow or cold weather, as we've had the last couple of weeks, or you get the call from daycare that's like, oh, your son just threw up or has a fever, you got to come, right? The call. And the stages, it's almost like the stages of grief in a way that you go through when you receive that call. And of course, I wrote it from this, oh, everybody's at school. I'm here working. I'm having a great day. And it was like, oh, well, first, you have a moment to like be angry or frustrated or feel discouraged, have your little temper tantrum, and then sort of move through, okay, it is what it is. This is how it is. I can fight it or I can go forward. And then, right, what are the steps? I posted that, I think, on Monday. And what is today? Wednesday, Tuesday. I got the call. Daycare is like, oh, your son has 101 fever. You need to come get him. And I was like, of course I do. And then I had to live what I had just written. And I think I went through a stage where it was like I would resist it so hard. I would make myself miserable being so angry that this is what my reality was, that we're all sick or we're all home or whatever it is. And then I found coaching and thought, okay, well, my thoughts control how I feel. So let me just sort of override that reaction to be angry. And I'm just gonna, it's, he's sick. He didn't choose. Let's move forward.
Hmm.
And now I think I'm in a place where both can be true, right? Like it's not a problem that I'm upset. My day was just upended. I
Mhm.
don't, I know he didn't choose to be sick, but it really throws a wrench in things, when kids have to stay home or this things don't go according to plan. And so it's like now I get to do both. I get to have that moment where I'm just pissed and I feel like the world is ending or the sky is falling on me and my life is terrible and I get to despair. And then once I sort of like get that out of my system, then it's like, okay, what am I going to do? I think you wrote about this recently. What now?
Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
I want to do now? But
Yeah.
I think that feels so much easier to answer when I let myself feel whatever I feel first. which, when you get the call is usually like, of
Now
course,
what?
again, here we go. My life
And
sucks.
I think to your point, I love that you're saying I get to feel both things, both ways. Like we're entrepreneurs, but for anybody who's listening to this, you probably also are on like a path and you feel like, okay, this week at work is going to be effective. We all go through those phases where like, enough with all the sickness, enough like now, and we have like this illusion maybe that we're going to be overly productive because we were not very productive the last 2 weeks or whatever happened, not knowing that we just have all these expectations that life is going to be perfect from here on, nothing is going to go wrong, and we don't budget for that. And so there is that disappointment of like, oh yeah, no, I still live with humans who might get sick. Mateo is like sneezing, and I'm like, no, you've been back to school for only a few days, literally this month. Why are
Yeah.
you sick? And my husband reminds me, he's a human, you know. So there is that disappointment, but also I think we go through these phases where we're exhausted with so much happened, where all shit went off, you know, the rails, like nothing was as planned. And we just survived. And then we get back on the horse, like as high as possible, as fast as possible, without having
Mm.
that rest. This is why I was writing about this week, because I'm teaching about taking a pause. Like my last episode was about taking a pause, and that's been so present in my mind. Like we're so allergic to the pause. So this happens, you have to respond. You can't just say, "Well, my kid is sick. I'll pick him up in a week." Right? I'll pick
Right.
you up in 3 hours when I finish my day of work. And you can't. You have to respond to the realities that are happening, like the milk spilled, and you're gonna clean that.
Mm.
You can't let that dry. I mean, you could, but none of us normally choose to. But what can you do after? What can you do after, right? Like that pause of like, I don't have to jump right back on that horse. Anyways, I'm not doing that. Neither are you, which is why we're having this conversation.
That's so, I hadn't thought about it. I don't know that I've thought about that right now in my moment. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's so true. It's that thought, at least for me, the thought is I need to make up. I need
Exactly.
to make up for the last 2 weeks when I've had a different kid home with me sick every day, or I haven't had a full work day or work week. And so you're right. It's like we're going to go from this survival mode, or for me, it's like this depleted state where you're not sleeping or you're not doing the things that feel good or that help you feel good. And then everybody goes back to school or whatever busy thing is happening for you in that moment, like you're through it. And instead of, "Oh, what do I need? How do I transition back to or forward to what's next?" We just jump in. It's like, yeah, I gotta wake up every day at 5 a.m. and go to the gym. And I need to sit at my desk for 8 hours and be insanely productive and create this and this and this and make the meals and eat the healthy food and, all of the things because I just wasted, quote unquote, wasted
No,
the last week. When it's like, yeah, I wonder what is that experience like for someone, and I know I've done it too, to just kind of like grind and go at it full speed after coming off of whatever the thing was for you that was exhausting.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I think it's probably resentment. Where does your brain go? Like you gotta, or maybe illness. Maybe you become sick and you wonder, but why am I sick now? Because you need to slow down.
Yeah.
What are all the things you're working towards right now as a mom, as a woman, as a coach? Like name them. I'm happy to just co-share with you what I am working on, because that was one of my
Mm.
thoughts this morning. Like this feeling of like, like I can't breathe fully sometimes is so self-imposed because we're working on all the things. I know,
Yes.
I know we're similar in that sense. We're always looking for like growth and um,
Yeah.
obviously be the best version of self, and that comes with work. So what are you
Here's
working
here's
towards?
my list. Well, I feel like a long list for my business. I am in this executive coach training program that you also did. And so I want to be a better coach. I want to integrate everything I'm learning. I
Yeah.
want to grow my business. I want to run this group program that I'm launching. I want to create new tools and resources and offer new workshops. I want to be on more podcasts. I want to speak more. I've got all of those goals in my business. I want to get back to the gym. I haven't been to the gym in like weeks. I want to
You were
lift.
doing so good. You were
I was doing
fired.
so
Yes.
great. I know. And now I've taken this January pause. I want to get back to doing my pull-ups because I'm so fucking proud of doing a pull-up.
Dude, I am so impressed. I think I've been working out, I want to say longer than you have.
Probably.
It's what I suspect. Just because I'm older than you. No, just because like I remember us having conversations, I was already working out and you're like, how do you even find the space or the energy to do it? I cannot do one, not even a half a pull-up. So I'm so impressed. Like,
Oh, I go back and watch that video of the first time, and my face when I dropped down from the pull-up bar was like shock and disbelief. Like, was that me? Did I really just do that? I have no idea.
like it's
So
part of my training to do pull-ups every week. I can't. Like I'm not built for this yet. I will do one. I promise you.
You will. You will. Yeah. So I want to work out. I have like goals and things that I want to do around my home. I want to declutter. I want to know what I own and where it is. I want to update my wardrobe, even what seems like frivolous things, but they take up space in my mind. I want to add more color and have more fun. I want to travel more. I want to do more dinners and outings with friends and with my husband. And yeah, all of those things are so exciting to me. And then you go through a season like what we've been through in January, and I'm sitting here thinking, I haven't made any progress. I mean, that's not true. I've made some progress on some things, and I think that's part of what we could talk about too, is it's so easy to say I haven't done anything.
It feels that way, but if you were to break it down,
yeah.
You've attended how many classes of your program, you've showed up how many times to whatever it is. Like you've cooked. Yeah.
Yeah. But it does feel when you have days or weeks or even a whole month where you're not where you thought you would be. Now what?
Right? Yeah, then you have the heaviness of that energy to recover from. On top of the things that you want to work on that are exciting. So last night I went on a tangent of watching reels because I'm going to be posting one reel a day for the next 30 days, starting tomorrow, with tips on how to lower anxiety.
Love it.
So I have so much knowledge in my head about anxiety specifically. I thought this is going to be like a library. I'm just going to put it out there and see where it goes. Okay. And I came across this woman's reels. She had done some training, some coaching in the same program I have. So I knew of her, but I've never really loved her style. Doesn't matter. I'm so open-minded right now to just see all the things.
Yeah.
You likely never see me dancing like a stupid dance on a reel, but I just wanted to see what was out there and how did it feel to receive that experience. Anyways, she was talking about, she calls her, I don't want to say, but she's her whole teaching is based on manifesting. And so to me, it's a bit like I like more science, research, that's more of my thing. Although I believe in spirituality and I believe in manifestation. I have a journaling practice there on my freebies for manifesting. I'm 100% sure that everything in my life was manifested with my thoughts and my work.
It's a great freebie. Everybody should go download it. Sign up for it. I did.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that came from anyways, my own spiritual work that I felt called to do. So there's a part of that speaks to me, but coaching solely on that to me is but I want to learn how to manage my brain and how to contain. So, I don't know you, but I'm learning that being a grown-up is all about self-containment. God, kids don't need to contain themselves as hard, but that's what we teach them to contain, right? And now this is how I feel like I'm learning. Anyways, this podcast this reel she was talking about she was on a boat saying she had this exact same, like she had rented that boat. She was with her husband, having a blast on a sunny day, looking beautiful, drinking delicious drinks. And that had been an image on her vision board for forever. And she was already so grateful for that before it came, which is a practice of mine. I'm always grateful before I even receive it. You know, I celebrate anything before it happens. People think it's crazy. I'm like, no, I know what I'm doing. I'm just calling this. And I woke up with a bit of a renewed energy from watching this. Almost like I remember that I can remember my future, like Joe Dispenza says. And that part, maybe all of January, has been really put to sleep, where all I'm seeing is what's in front of me with whatever lenses I'm wearing. So if I'm exhausted today, that's what I'm wearing. If I am happy today, then that's what I'm wearing. But all I'm seeing is like today with the circumstances of today and making decisions based on that versus remembering the future I want. I'm bringing that into my day. And I woke up excited, like a little bit less of that blah feeling we were talking about, you and I, on the phone the other day, and a bit more like purposeful, like, and excited. Like, yes, when you were talking about, like, I don't know, cleaning your house, knowing what you own, knowing your outfits, or, you know, creating, having new outfits, I got excited for you. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool to do. That's an exciting, like, there could be so much excitement in little things that we just don't make the time for. So anyways, I just thought of sharing. I think I'm going to create a vision board differently than the ones I have, just based on like things that seem impossible. Things that I'm like, that would be like, not like I used to have a pregnancy, you know, photo, and you know, that was so big on my visualization. And I do feel that I try, but if you hadn't been pregnant before, it's hard to tap into that energy when you have so much disbelief. But I try so hard. I'm like, okay, that must be. And if I was really bloated, I'll stand in front of the mirror. I'm like, oh, this is what I would look like if I was pregnant. That's pretty. And now I want to do it. I really want to do it. I want to do it for like crochet projects. I don't know, things that I've never done. Beautiful plants, like yours. I'm like, those bring me joy. Those are little things that bring so much joy. Not to say that they will stop us from having months, because we will still have them. Just a reminder. It just popped into my awareness this morning or last night, and this morning I was like, that made a difference.
Do you think you? I'm genuinely curious. Do you feel like you got to this place today where you're feeling more energy, some excitement? You have this spark of an idea of maybe I'm gonna, you know, challenge myself to envision or think about things that I have no experience with. Do you think you can get there because you, I don't know if I want to use the word, like the phrase leaned in, but you maybe allowed or accepted how you were feeling even just earlier this week?
For sure. I think so. Yesterday, when I sat down to write an email to my audience, which was the one you referred to, taking a pause, I realized I was leaving the gym, because finally I went to the gym yesterday. I celebrated that. Guys, I've only been once to the gym this month, and that's because my husband said, we're going. And I was like, oh, okay, in company. And in my head, the whole time going there, I'm like, I'm only going to walk on the trip. I ended up doing a full workout and I loved it. And then I felt like $1,000,000, but then I never went back because I was so sore because I haven't exercised like I am today. Anyways, I went yesterday, and when I was leaving the gym, I was in such a high, because happy hormones come from exercising, right? And I was like, oh, yes, this is why I exercise every day, because of that high after. I just love it so much. When I was sitting there, I realized that understanding everything that I've been through over the last 2 months, let's say, because I started my last fertility treatment early December. So I've been injecting hormones. It has a huge impact. I know it has an impact on how I feel. And then it was a not successful treatment. and the embryo we have left is not viable. So truly, this is like a wash down the drain. Like there's nothing we can do about it. I've experienced this many times before, and in a way, I feel that I'm somewhat more numb to the feelings. I'm like, it was more like it was shocking because we had an egg donor. So technically, this should have never been the case. Whatever. There's that emotional, there's that financial investment that we made.
Yeah.
But none of that has really impacted me. I'm not all that sad. I'm really in a great place of acceptance. I accepted that. I'm like, the universe has my back, and that was not part of my plan or my family. I've been so grateful for Mateo. He seems even more of a greater miracle now. But when I was sitting in my car yesterday after the gym, feeling that high of like, I did it, I worked out. And like, I squatted, not heavy compared to normal, but like, there, plates on my squat rack. I realized that understanding why the events that may have brought me to feeling like this is like a really dry, long month do not change that feling. And that's okay. Right. Like I don't think I was fixing the feelings. I was just welcoming them, but also wondering when would I get back to like, I want to move. And at some point, is it a decision that I have to make? Okay, enough of this. I felt that it is heavy. I'm now going to do something else. So maybe I had that awareness, and then I don't think anything is a coincidence. I run into these reels, and that reminds me or clicks or something.
Yeah.
Something in your mind that is like, okay, this continues to fuel that idea I had already. But I'm still in the in-between. I still don't feel like, can't wait to go back to the gym. Like I remember it was fun. I'm like, yes, I have to go back.
Yes.
But it's not, but I'm excited about the vision board. I'm excited. Like I can see the future now, and I'm like, yes, that will be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I think about that a lot. And it's like when I feel like sickness and illness is top of mind for me, but it's like when you feel so terrible and you're in bed and I don't know, a day or days go by and you're like, will I ever feel better again? It feels like forever. This is awful. I hate this. And then one morning on whatever timeline your body has, you wake up and you have the energy. You're like, I'm going to take a shower today, or I'm going to go downstairs today, right? And it comes back. And so I think about that a lot of how can I lean into whatever I'm feeling in this day and trust that the energy, the motivation will return and something will come across my path like a reel, or I'll have a conversation, or I will just feel like I'm ready to do something different than wallowing on the couch or walking around doing nothing. And I sometimes find that for me, that change comes faster when I just really lean into or allow whatever I am feeling. Like yesterday when I picked up, was it yesterday when I picked up Wyatt from school?
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Yeah.
You texted me.
I had a ton of things that I thought I was going to do and create. I was, going to do a bunch of writing for things for my business and all of that. And I could have probably pulled my laptop out and sat on the couch with him and, tended to him while doing some writing, but I felt so drained from that just like shuffle and disruption in my day that honestly I was like, you know what? I'm just going to lay on the couch with him and I'm going to read a book and I'm going to be under a blanket too. And we're going to sit by the fire and he's going to watch, Endless Bluey. And
Oh, it's my favorite.
I know. And I just leaned into it because that was almost what I needed yesterday to take care of me in that moment.
I love it. You kind of saw an opportunity to care for self. Okay, this sucks. Let me hold your back. Read a book, which you love. Um, and also for our children, like how nice to just be like, oh well, c'est la vie, this is what it is. Mama can stop working. as opposed to trying to do some of that work, you would end up probably frustrated. This is not ideal. Like Mateo was talking to me yesterday, was I was typing, and I was like, say one more word. I'm going to lose it. Oh my
Yeah.
God. The other day, I don't know if it's these hormones that I'm detoxifying. I'm told it's gonna take up to 6 months.
Mm,
Dude, I'm so edgy. It's so easy for me to just like
probably.
lose it.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's like you could spend what, however long with all of the interruptions and that sort of like energy of feeling, just give me a minute, stop talking. Or you can just put it aside and come back when you have a focused 20, 30
it's
minutes
also
and bang
different
it
for
out.
everybody. Exactly,
But
exactly.
it's hard to do that in practice. It really is. But you have to practice it.
Yeah, yeah. So, when we're coaches, sometimes I feel that people see us as like, you never go through this. You have it all together, which is what was so appealing to me to have this conversation. When we were having it on the phone a couple of days ago, I was like, stop talking. We're going to record this entire conversation because I want every other mom or women, because even if you're not a mom, I think you're going to relate to this. This is just like being overwhelmed by your own thoughts and impositions,
Mhm.
and they're not feeling up to par. They're not feeling like I'm giving it my best or I feel my best. What's concerning to me? How many of us are making it okay or making it not okay? I want everybody to be okay in whatever feeling, but feeling this heavy or feeling blah or feeling unhappy or feeling like something is off, and sometimes in more than one area. And sort of assuming this is my new way of life, this is never going to change.
Mm.
Because there is a fine balance, at least I know for myself. And I love what you said earlier, just to remember that this will come to an end. Like you and I have had this conversation other years, right? Where it's like, oh, I'm
Mm.
not going through a great energy. How are you keeping up? And we just like bounce back, and then we have great energetic moments. We're humans. We're going to be always flowing.
Yeah.
But I definitely something there is to say to like do the things that are good for us despite of our inner resistance,
Mm.
so that we don't create perhaps a state of being that becomes normal, to just perpetually be unsatisfied with your health or with your energy levels. Like there's no reason why we should always be low in energy. Like I am curious, why am I low in energy? What's going on? What's draining my energy? And if there are things that I can control, like there are circumstances, like all your kids got sick one by one, yeah, that's gonna definitely drain your energy. But if that wasn't it, if that they come back to health and you go back to your routine and you still notice that lingering of like, what else is going on? What's not like that's what I think is what we ought to do to ourselves. Like be present for the feeling we're having, feel it fully because it's not going anywhere unless you feel it. And also see what can we do. What can we do to feel a bit better? Even if it is like what I was telling you, those glimpses of like, okay, my heart wants to do some crochet. My heart wants to talk to, like, I was so desperately wanting to talk to you. I'm like, you're like the perfect person to talk to and be like, life sucks this month, because I knew you'd be like, I know. And don't worry about it. Well, it's just,
Yeah.
it's okay. You were saying to me the other day, it's okay. I haven't been to the gym. Not that I
Yeah.
needed anybody, but it feels so good to be like, oh, okay, you too? You didn't go either? Wow, what happened?
Yeah.
Just to normalize that.
Yeah, I think there are like, yeah, what I'm hearing you say is there's a difference between going through a season, whether
Mhm,
that's, a couple of weeks, a month, 6 weeks, where, yeah, your energy is low, circumstances are what they are. You've, been navigating hormone changes in your body and the ups and downs of your fertility journey. And I've been dealing illnesses and, school closings and all of those. There's a difference between those seasons and
mhm,
then getting yourself moving again, doing the things that you love to do that feel good, that take care of you. And then there's a difference between sort of settling
mhm,
for just feeling that way
mhm,
indefinitely. And I think some of the most sort of brilliant self-care ideas that I've had have been in, these weeks or months where shit hits the fan and I feel like nothing is going my way. And I live in that for a while. I wallow in that despair. My husband has to remind me, like, it's okay. Everything is okay in the grand scheme of life. But then when I ask myself, what is it that I need right now? And maybe it's I need to go to the gym because I need those endorphins and I want to feel better.
Mhm.
Maybe it's like, oh my gosh, I hadn't paused to notice that I haven't stepped outside to get fresh air in days, which
Exactly.
happens. I'm embarrassed to say
Yeah,
happens.
same. Mhm.
Or I was noticing this week, I haven't seen the sun in what feels like 10 days. Of course, Or gosh, I haven't read a book that I actually enjoy in a while, or I'm not drinking a lot of water, or I forgot to take my vitamin D or whatever it is. And I think sometimes when we get so swept up in how everything is going wrong, or we don't have energy, or what's wrong with me, why am I like this?
Mhm.
We forget to pause and look around and just ask what is one small thing? What do I actually need right now? Why might not maybe not why, but yeah, what now? I love that question what now? What's a little thing I could do? And that often, sustains you through whatever the season is and then builds into something that you layer on more and more. Okay, yeah, now I've finally gotten outside and gotten fresh air. Or 2 days ago, I took my first solo walk in what felt like all month. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get back to the gym and I want to lift heavy again. But
Walking
right
is
now, I
fine.
can just
Walking is
walk.
great. Yeah,
I can
walking is
just
great.
walk.
I read a magazine last night, all the benefits of walking. I almost like put it down and went for a walk at 10:30.
Yeah.
So we tend to diminish what's like, I think that's something that I focused on in January for myself. Baby steps, really tiny little baby steps with some consistency. And what I was gravitating to, in one of the messages we exchanged, you said, I am in full on hibernating mode. And I loved it. And I'm like, of course, that might be also what's going on. I am in hibernating mode. And I have one of my closest friends, she lives in Chile. So we're in complete opposites right now, right? She's texting me and saying, I'm sweating buckets just standing here talking to you. And I'm like, I'm freezing, waiting for my son to come out of school. Um, and she was telling me how like she messaged me today at 8 in the morning and she had done like her workout. She was at the bank. And I was like, I'm just trying to make breakfast for my son. And like in college, she had a full day already, and it was 8 o'clock. And then I remember, oh shit, when I wake up at 5 in the morning, that's what I sound like at 8 in the morning, right? It's like, I just did 5 million things. Where are you? How are you? And she's all energized. Um, and then like she's in summer. That's how I am in summer,
Yeah.
but I'm in winter. And in winter, I want to journal. I want to read books. I want to walk. I want like that. If I ask my body, what do you want? What do you need? It's like so soothing. It's so slow paced. We're in a winter season. Why try to be like we're in summer? Like we go through those seasons.
Yes. For anybody listening who does enjoy reading and pondering questions like this, there's this book called Wintering that I read a couple of years ago. Have you read it or do you know of it?
I'm gonna write it up.
I
Wintering.
don't I don't purchase a lot of books. I just use my library. I don't want
Yeah,
to
that sounds
manage them, but that is one that I purchased.
good.
And it gave me this new appreciation for all that happens during winter. It's like part memoir, part personal development. And yeah, uh, I think if January 1 is your thing and you love that energy and you want to hit the ground running for a new year, great. Like you do you. And also, you're right. It's dark. It's cold where I am. I rarely see the sun and it just feels a little counterintuitive to go all out at this time of year. And if that's how you are, then what do you want to do? What can you set up for yourself? Like you said, walking, journaling, reading, those are amazing things too. And when it's spring and summer and the sun is shining and we're all feeling great, Yeah, maybe you get up at 5 and you do the gym and you drink your green juice and you do all of the things, and that's great too. And I think you do this as well. We've talked about this before. Annual goals, that's great. But I love the 12-week goal. I love the 12-week year, that whole idea. And
That's
so the beautiful thing about that is it doesn't have to start on January 1. It doesn't even have to start on February 1. You could choose your 12 weeks are separate from the calendar,
you got it.
right?
Look what I found.
Oh,
It's
that's
a
beautiful.
quarterly goal planner with all my favorite colors, orange, pink, and red, and yellow. And I haven't started it. Good, because I'm looking for the perfect pen, of course, to write in it. But it's got the year divided in quarterly plans, and then I have like daily plans. You can
Mm,
have a month view,
yep.
a weekly plan with like key questions. I am loving the 12-week year.
Yeah.
Everybody should read that book. I think it's life changing. It is so helpful. And then I now found my own little journal to like write in it and stay. It's kept me motivated for like my main goal this quarter is to get my finances in check.
Mhm.
I think I told you that I completely neglected this over the last 2 years. Not neglected it. Well, yes, neglected it. Delegated it entirely to an accountant who did a poor job, and because I wasn't on top of that, now like payback is like
Yeah.
heavy, heavy, heavy on me. I'm happy to say that in March, everything is gonna be paid out and in alignment and whatever. But it's been really stressful and shameful almost because I'm like, shit, that's
Mm.
something I should have been on top of. And because I'm like, oh, I'm not good with numbers, I just gave it to somebody else, which is fine to delegate, but also supervise, but also stay like take the pulse to see how things are working. Anyways, that has been the focus for my 12 weeks. And I feel so motivated because in that goal, there are goals that I don't look forward to doing, like my bookkeeping, which after I'm done the 12 weeks, I will hire somebody, but I really wanted to do the exercise myself and be like, you are going to sit here and do the thing that you hate doing because
So
you need
smart.
to learn how to do it. Anyways, it's kept me so motivated to doing it because I'm like so on task. I want
Hmm.
that check mark. And it's easy, it's not super complicated.
That's
So
such a
anyway,
great winter like quarterly plan too, or goal.
yeah, yeah.
Because it's task, it's like execution, kind of like those task rabbit things. You're just gonna get in, follow the steps, do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you, but like I imagine my spring will be more about, right, the big ideas, the vision, the next thing. And I love that like winter mindset again of I don't have to be so big and grand and out there. It could just be
Yeah.
bookkeeping.
Yeah. Bookkeeping, get organized. Like,
Get
there's
organized.
gotta be a lot of organizing that
Yeah.
has to be done. And easy. Like honoring the energy I'm in.
Hmm.
Energy I'm in is not to run a marathon,
Yeah.
it's to wake up. It's to have tea. Um, there was something else that I wanted to say from the list of things that you're working towards. What is the thing that you love to target first that you know is waiting for you?
Hmm. I think the thing it's as I'm what's popping into my mind, I'm like, that goes against what I just said 10 seconds ago. But I I have some ideas. I think it could make sense this time of year. Some of the resources that I've been wanting to create for my business for a while to offer to my private clients, to my community. So it's not actually a visioning exercise because I already know what I want to do. So it is maybe more along the bookkeeping line of your, 12, your quarterly goal, because it's just the execution. It's just getting the thoughts onto paper, designed into whatever the deliverable is going to be. That feels exciting to me. Um, and also feels cozy. It's like something that I could do here in my office, which I love, under a blanket with a candle and a mug of tea and just like write and be in the zone. And so yeah, I think that will be one of the things that I focus on first. And I want to say too, I love 12 weeks because at least for me personally, and this is how I teach this to my clients, it's 12 weeks is short,
Yeah.
but there's also enough room that I can have, these 2 weeks where it feels like everything has fallen apart
Mm.
and still probably reach what I want to reach at the end of 12 weeks. Like there's enough time that it can accommodate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you feel like that? That it can accommodate these days or weeks where maybe you're not doing or as productive as you thought you would be?
Yeah, like I know like in March, like the all of my taxes will paid out, and that's like, wow, that's gonna feel so good.
Yeah.
And that's in 12 weeks. That was one thing that I needed to make sure it happened.
Yeah.
But already so much of what I said I would do in 12 weeks has happened.
Yeah.
Right. And we're on what, like week 5, 4. So I know exactly what you're saying. Some things will definitely require the 12 weeks, and other things will happen. And so you start seeing like space. That's how I feel. It's like, oh, there's space here. What else? How else do I want to go deeper into something maybe here? And
Yeah.
what would that be? And like so self-aware. Like I just love the 12 week. For me, what's interesting? I've been doing this for my business for a while, but for my personal life, that
Mm.
has been so interesting. Like, okay, I definitely have to. I've always said I've been working on being a patient mom, and I realized it had been really easy because he was just not challenging my patience. But he's 4 now, and God, he's challenging my patience. And
Yes.
like he said to me yesterday, you have zero patience, mom. And I'm like, I don't know, before 0, there is some patience, I guess. Oh, quickly, it's true. Like yesterday, he threw himself on the floor of Walmart, and rather than taking off his mittens to pick up the stick of his popsicle that he was eating, he decided to pick it up with his mouth straight.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure Walmart and the store next to Walmart heard me scream. I was like,
And you wonder why he's sneezing and coughing.
Jesus, what the hell? You can't do. You have hands. Why didn't he's like, I couldn't think of my mittens. I'm like, oh my God.
It's so logical.
So now I see the challenge. Now I'm like, oh my
Mm.
God, patience. So
Yeah.
this morning I woke up and I had that intention, right? Like it's just like, okay.
Mm.
But using the 12 week, for example, to work on like over the next 12 weeks, I'm really gonna like cultivate patience. So what can I do?
Mm.
It's just been so interesting for me.
I love that. My tendency, this probably won't surprise you, is to like make my 12 weeks very project oriented.
Mhm.
Like when you were like, oh, I love this for my life. I'm like, oh yeah, I do it for my personal life too. But my last one was my kids were switching rooms and I wanted to redecorate. So I was like, oh, I'll make a 12-week plan for like how I'm going to over the course of 12 weeks paint and decorate and all those things. But I love thinking about it as more of like an intrinsic change, patience. Um, I could see for me, one-on-one connection with my kids. I have 3 kids, and it's hard. It's a challenge to get that one-on-one time or even 5 or 10 minutes. So I mean, like that would be a great. Actually, I feel really excited about that one.
See, that's what I mean. You get excited because you're like, where will we be in 12 weeks from now if we do
Yeah.
this?
If that and it works so well too because or at least if you do it, I think the way it's meant to be done, it forces you to constrain. So I'm not going to work on patience and one-on-one connection and redoing their rooms and this
No,
and that. It's like,
exactly.
for my life, what is the one thing that I want to really move forward and where do I want to be in 12 weeks? And then it's like, that's the only thing I have to keep top of mind.
That's it. And so many things for all my overdoers out there happened automatically as you're so solely focusing on being patient. Like that self-constraint, like you said, on just having the one goal, but also on like being patient. That's a lot of like self-management. You
Mm.
don't think it's gonna impact other areas of your life? Like 100% it will, right? Like you're
Yes.
it's so transferable is what it is. And I just love thinking of like I've got all the time in the world. I'm just gonna target this one thing right now.
Yeah.
my relationship with my husband or with myself. Like, what is the thing?
Yeah.
Like you said, 12 weeks is a short amount of time to commit to. And it's also a long, like it has a lot of weeks in it. And you're like,
Yeah.
all right, last week was a write-off. How do we begin this week?
Yeah,
Right?
I'm not behind. You don't have to be behind. You
You don't have
just
to.
get right back in there. And I don't know if you would I don't know, recommend that people do it this way if they're listening, but I'm a proponent of if you want to start your 12 weeks tomorrow, start it tomorrow.
Mhm.
Like February 1st, great. If you want to start it February 5th, who cares?
Yeah,
Like just
okay.
count 12 weeks forward and make sure you know what's the start date and what's the 12-week date from now. That's my end. So if you're feeling like January was a wash, or if you've got a really busy February, or you want to start in the middle of February, it doesn't matter. It's just 12
It
weeks.
doesn't matter. You want to be ready to start and commit to the 12 weeks. So that is most important that you
Yeah.
feel like, okay, now I'm going to do this. Once you get started. And here's what I keep reminding myself. Like when I see my son walking and running and talking and like just being a little man with his own ideas. And like this morning, he was like telling me that Sankusushu, which is a type of dinosaur, sounds like a made up name, trapped a rhinoceros, a rhino, but that the rhino is a bit stronger, even though it came up later in life. I'm like, how does my kid knows all of these little things? Anyways, when I look at him, I think to myself, did it matter when I started that fertility treatment to have him? Did
Mm,
it matter how long it took to have him? It doesn't. He's
mm,
So when you are living the experience of your effort, it does not matter when did you start the 12 weeks? When did you start taking? It's just a matter of starting.
mm.
And I get so emotional because I could have so easily not or given up or said like timing is a problem. It was going to take too long. It's going to cost too much. It's going to be too painful. It's going to be too. And he's the single best gift ever. Right. So I never look at him walking around and thinking like, oh God, why did it take me 5 years to make this baby? Didn't
Mm.
matter. So whenever you make it to your goal, it's not going to be relevant to you. When did you start? And how many 12 weeks it took you to get there?
Mm. Yeah.
Like just
Permission for it to take multiple 12 weeks.
yeah. And to get started whenever you choose, like, okay, I've got it. I'm gonna get started. And I did it. And like I started going to the gym yesterday and I'm fragile today, but I'm gonna go because I know I'm ironing something out that needs to become stronger. And by the time of whenever, and I look at my physical shape and I look at my mental shape and I feel better, it's not going to matter how shitty my workout was today or how little or how much I could lift. All it would matter were the tiny little compound effects that I kept going, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is where we can, as busy humans, busy moms with so much on our mind, can think about just start today, one baby step towards anything.
Yeah. And to keep it real, I mean, I will share. So this is the end of January. And you're asking me, what am I excited about? Maybe what would my next 12-week kind of goal look like? And I am excited for those things and I do want to move on them. And I still feel a little
Oh,
like
yes.
I'm still in the pause. And so yeah, I love this. Like we don't all have it together. We're not always being productive. We're not always jumping in and making progress on the next thing. So for me, I'm gonna give myself at least another week to rest, to recover, to maintain the things that I already have to do that are I'm going to show up for my clients. I have to take care of my kids. I have to, all of the basics. And then I'm going to ask what I need, take care of myself. And then when I'm ready, I'm feeling like probably in another week or so, I'll know and I'll get started then.
That is it. That is probably the most important part, that you are ready, right? Like, I love that you're like in that ambivalence. Like, I know what I want and I do want those things, just not yet. Your
Yeah.
time will come. I always remind my clients and myself, we can't force a caterpillar to become a butterfly. We let it be a caterpillar for as long as it's going to be. We don't worry about this caterpillar just not becoming a butterfly, right? So you might be in caterpillar stage. I know I am. I know going to the gym today is going to be like going in reverse, but I've started and I'm going to. But I love that. I love that for you. And I hope everybody listening to us just walks away with, this is how it is. You know, you're not any different than anybody else. We all go through this and we all have to like problem solve, literally problem solve. What requires my attention now? How can I best navigate this phase of life with the energy I have? And is there anything I can do? What do I need? Is there anything I can do to support myself as I go through this versus fix?
Yes.
Or change. Not fixing, just feeling. I need to feel this. This is why I love journaling. Journaling is like my companion to feel. Just write all of this down. And now I feel like somebody listened. Like somebody understood me.
I hadn't been journaling for a while. And actually this week with everything going on, I just, you just sometimes feel that like compelled to do something. And I picked it up again. And so it's also like trusting that those things will be there for you.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it took me pausing enough to be like, what do I need? What would feel really good right now? And it was like, I want to write for me, not just for my email list, not just for my whatever.
I know, with purpose. Look, my next
write for me. I love that.
That is something I've been craving. Purpose. Not just put emails because you're putting emails, not just show up because you said you would. Like the 30-day video is so purposeful to me, like to really help people with anxiety.
Yeah.
Just quick tips. I'm excited for that. It doesn't feel like, God, I have to show up. I challenge myself to do this. It's just exciting. And by the way, if you guys are listening to this, it's happening, like by the time we release, it's happening now. So come on to Instagram, watch these videos, share them, love them, comment, and most importantly, apply the thing that I teach you, because I think it's going to help you overthink less.
Yes.
Katelyn, I know you have to go. Coaching calls.
Yes.
But I'm going to hit the gym for sure. I so appreciate you as a friend, as a human, as a fellow coach. I know all clients are so lucky to have you. I feel so lucky to have you. You know what I was thinking about?
What?
We have never met in person.
I know. Do you know my kids know your name, though? They know Olga in Canada.
Oh, I know. I love
I'm like,
it.
yeah, she's my friend. And then I think, I've never met her in person, but I still feel like so strongly and so much love for you, as much as any friend that I have met and see in person.
I feel in my head this morning, I'm like, is it true? I've never met her in person. So for all of you, we want to challenge the barriers of friendships. Okay. We met in a coaching group. We've been friends ever since.
Years ago.
Years ago. But there was a baby, right? Like,
yeah.
That's crazy.
I think it was it 2020? We'll have to go back and confirm.
Yeah, so he was 1. My son was 1.
So was Wyatt.
Yeah. And we've been like, and we don't talk every day, but when we do, it's like we never stopped. And we will make it happen. Let's meet in person.
We should meet in person.
I go to the States often enough.
I know you do. I know. But yes, I love that. Challenge the boundaries of friendship. Yeah,
because they can happen and you can feel strongly connected. We just met voice memo events sometimes, and that is it.
I feel like I can tell you anything.
Same. I feel like we've been to this Italian restaurant eating pasta and drinking wine like all of our lives, but we've never done this. Like we said, we will do that sometime, and that's in my head, as well as a yoga retreat with Desi. We have to make it.
We'll do it someday.
Anyways, I feel so appreciative for your time. And we will have all of Katelyn's links to her website and to her Instagram on the show notes, so you guys can explore her page, her services. She's an extraordinary coach, and you could tell human being, a real person who's going to coach you and care about you. And when we're going through these phases of life, it's so good to have a coach. It's so good to have another person on the other side who's going to make it feel normal and okay, and sort of like give you that warm blanket. That's what coaching feels like for me right now. It's like, I just want a tantrum here. Can I tantrum here?
Of course. Yes.
It feels like that. So,
so good.
Thank you for listening, everybody. I love you so much. I'll see you very soon.